Welcome to Talk Commerce, where we explore how merchants, agencies, and developers experience commerce. This week, we interview Laura Trejo with 6DS Services in Mexico. We have a great conversation about commerce in Mexico and what platforms stores are using now. Some of the choices may be surprising. Laura tells us how the Magento to Adobe name change has been confusing, and we learn about a new commerce platform called Tienda Nove. We talk about marketing in Mexico and more. Magento Creative, partnering with the client to help fulfill their strategic growth, serving the world as an Adobe Gold partner and BigCommerce Elite partner. Magento, the code of commerce. This episode is sponsored by eWay Corporation, the partner of choice for technology, infrastructure, and enterprise-level digital solutions. An AWS Select Consulting partner, eWay Corporation, forward together. My name is Brent Peterson, and I'm your host. Please remember to subscribe wherever you download your podcasts. And now, Talk Commerce. Welcome to Talk Commerce. Today we're interviewing Laura Trejo from Mexico. Laura, please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Hi, Brent. Thank you. I'm Laura Trejo. I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. I've been around on the Magento ecosystem from around 8 years, I think so. Right now, I'm running my business, being an e-commerce agency. So, thank you.
Great. And today we're gonna dive into some topics that are interesting in Mexico around e-commerce and learn a little bit about what's happening in Mexico right now. So I guess to start off, what are the big trends you're seeing at the moment for e-commerce in Mexico?
Okay, so right now in Mexico, everybody wants to be an e-com. We were like 2 or 3 years behind on everybody else for the e-commerce. It was being hard to adopt, but because of COVID, everybody needed to start selling online. So on the last year during 2020, at least 80% of the stores went online. Some of them went bigger, like they already had some projects to be online, so they just moved quickly. And other stores were like, okay, so I need to start selling online. What the heck are the payment gateways? So everybody in Mexico needed to speed up on e-commerce. So that's something that happened really fast the last year. A lot of people were not using credit cards or holding against paying online, but when the shutdown started, like they had to start using the credit card, they start looking for stuff online. So everybody had to move on, even if they don't like. That happened also a lot like with the parents. Like they were used to ask their children for help or anything else. And now that the child are not around or are locked on another location, they had to learn how to do things. They also move up the fraud statistics. So
Fraud
some
statistics,
people,
yeah.
yes. So some people are doing good with their e-commerce, others die because of the fraud. So it's like an interesting phase for the e-commerce in Mexico. Also, like I know a lot of people like in other part of the world are not really fans of Facebook. But here in Mexico, if you want to start selling online, you start selling on Facebook.
Okay.
Not even Instagram. They start with Facebook, like having a small fan page and only like posting pictures of their stuff. There's something we are calling here in Mexico the nenny's culture. And nenny is like a girl who is trying to sell something, maybe old clothes or handcraft stuff online. Like it's going to be Mother's Day. So they go and buy a lot of mugs and they start to personalize the mug. They take pictures, they post it on Facebook, like on a fan page or also on profiles. And they say like, if you want a gift for your mother, call me, I'll create your mug and I'll do the shipping like in a place that is in the middle of both houses of the person who's buying. So they start calling these girls nennies.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
So
I know the challenge when I first started doing business with people in Mexico in I guess it was 2014. The challenge was always around fraud and people not being able to pay. And just for our listeners, the one of the ways people would pay would be go into OXXO, which is like a convenience store, and you would be able to get a little receipt that you've paid, say, 1,000 pesos towards something, and then you could go in and either put that online. There's actually a Magento extensions that will work with OXXO, or you could even then go into the store and present your receipt to say, here, I've paid for this. So now
yes,
things are changing rapidly.
but they are still using OXXO. You are doing online but offline, which is weird and like unique, I think, for Latam, not only Mexico.
Yeah, the other challenge I remember was that shipping wasn't always really good in Mexico. How has shipping changed?
Still not good and really expensive. I don't know about USA, the shipping costs, but here in Mexico, I think the best price you can get for 1 kilo is like from 200 pesos to 150. That's like really expensive. It's almost the price of any item you need to buy. And if you start going with the volumetric weight and stuff like that, you are up to 2 or 3 kilos, which, which is like 500 pesos. That's not good. I think most of the business are fighting with that because, okay, you have an interesting product, people is willing to pay you using the OXXO, but they are not willing to pay the shipment because sometimes it's expensive, more expensive than the product itself. So shipping still not good in Mexico.
Yeah, and
Not good.
this is where the retailers that have stores across Mexico have an advantage because people can buy it online and pick it up at the local store if they need to. Or I don't, are they doing curbside pickup or like we're doing for people
They
don't have to
start
go inside?
last year. Some of the stores that start that was Liverpool and Walmart, and it went off the ground foot because people started doing really big lines to pick up their stuff, and the store wasn't ready because the people in the store wasn't ready either. So they were trying to gather all the pieces from the order at the same time they were going to deliver. So people start complaining. I think it's a little better right now, but I think it's only Liverpool and Walmart the ones that do the click and collect.
Okay. How about um how about Amazon? How is Amazon doing in Mexico?
Really good, really good. I think most of the people that I know, at least on the tech side, they bend and pay the Prime subscription. But also the prices on Amazon went up a lot. Here in Mexico, you can use Amazon or Mercado Libre. Sometimes things used to be cheaper on Amazon, and then using the Prime subscription, you use Amazon. But right now, the people that are selling on Amazon uh, put prices like really up, so people is moving to Mercado Libre again. So it's kind of funny. They have a lot of public, but they are going expensive, so people is moving back to Mercado Libre.
And does Mercado Libre also offer free shipping like Amazon Prime?
Uh, no, not all the items. They do have some warehouses here in Mexico and in other sites, but not all the merchant are using their warehouse. But shipping is around 99 pesos, which is a really good price compared with any other shipping gateway you can find around.
So would you agree that sort of those two are being the disruptors in the industry? They're driving some of these shipping prices that have to go lower, and some of the other retailers are trying to follow, but it's more difficult because the open price for the market is this, and maybe Amazon raised their
Yes.
prices because they are offering free shipping.
Maybe could be all other thing that I see that maybe is not working for online people that are trying to sell is that they are struggling calculating the price they should use for online selling. Some people is putting like big prices because they don't want to absorb the gate payment commission and the shipping commission and paying the extra people, so they're putting their price like really high and they are not selling. Some other people is not calculating any of this and they are trying to sell at the same price they used to sell on the physical store and they are losing money. So there are like two sides and like very few people is like getting the price right for their e-commerce. And also we know that something is not going to happen like right away. It's something you need to get to know your public. But right now there is no time to get to know your public. You need to be selling already.
Yeah, there is an urgency to be online now, especially with lockdowns and closures. Tell me how the mood, or tell me how it is in your area for for the coronavirus. Are you still locked down, or are people now going out to the stores?
We used to be on lockdown like the first half of 2020. Like people really care and use their mask and stuff. But right now that the vaccination has started, people already forgot about the mask. And every mall and every public place is already open. It seems like COVID never happened. But it's also because right now Mexico is near to the elections. So if you say there is COVID, people is not going to the election. So right now there is no COVID. I'm sure right past June 6th, we are going back to lockdown.
Okay. So,
But who knows?
yeah, unfortunately, it's all turned very political. So
Yes.
back to e-commerce. I know that somebody that did a company that did e-commerce well or worked through their challenges was Best Buy, and Best Buy is in Mexico. What is the perception of how they're doing for their online sales?
They are not in Mexico anymore.
Oh,
They
wow.
closed their store last year. When all the COVID and the lockdown happened, they last 1 month, I think, maybe 2 months into lockdown, and they start closing all their physical stores. The remaining items they sold online, but if you go right now on bestbuy.com.mx, it's gone already. So they didn't survive. So even
That's
if you think
amazing.
that, yes, seriously, if you think that there's a big company that would do okay in a situation like that, they didn't.
Yeah, that shows how it impacts every type of retailer, not just the smaller ones. So
Yes.
I guess what do you see then for smaller retailers? How are they being successful now as they're moving online?
They're learning how to do their pricing. They are learning how to do the shipment because some companies didn't want to hire someone to be on their e-commerce like an e-commerce manager. They wanted to do all and they couldn't. So they are learning how to do prices. They are learning how to do shipping. They know they cannot do everything. That's something I talked about on the last presentation that I have, that you need someone to look after that business unit, because it's not like a hobby. You really need to put people and money into that. And I think they're doing good. I expect this year, I think it's going to be like quite the same. People trying to sell on Facebook, Instagram, and small platforms. And maybe next year, when they feel they have more experience, they move on to another platforms. I think the platforms that are stronger here in Mexico, it's something called Tienda Nove. That is something like Shopify, kind of. Shopify is also strong here in Mexico. And WordPress with WooCommerce, people really like that. There is not a lot of Magento embracement still, even that we already do that here in Mexico. Only they see as only big business platform. Some other platform, they have no business here in Mexico. Like for example, Ecommerce is not doing things here in Mexico because of the lack of payment gateways.
Yeah,
So,
and I think you'll see big commerce is now going to make a push into Mexico. But okay, so
good to know.
back to I guess back to platforms. I know that you've been very involved in Magento or Magento. What do you see? What do you see the current business state, and how do you see new people coming to Magento in Mexico?
As I said, it's seen like for bigger retailers, bigger sellers. This thing with the name change did a lot of noise. I have some stores that are on the Open Community version, and they start asking what's going to happen with our platform. Do we have to pay? I'm like, no, not yet. I think so. So I'm not sure what would be the future, because marketing is going to go to the Adobe Commerce name. The idea is Mexico is not like big adopter of Magento. And now that the marketing is going to Adobe Commerce, I think less people is going to look for Magento or ask for Magento platforms. So it's good to know big commerce coming.
Yeah, and what was that first platform you mentioned? The one that people are
Tienda
adopting?
Nove. Tienda Nove.
Tienda Nove, so new store.
Nove.
Okay.
Yes, it's something like Shopify, because you can create your store online, like click, click, click. So they allow not technical people to put their stuff online, like really easy. And because you can pay your subscription in pesos, do not seem so frightening, like being Shopify using dollars. That's something really important. Even if the price is the same, people would prefer to pay in pesos than seeing the pricing table on US dollars.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think that all of the platforms should look at that in some way to allow for local currencies to be paid.
Yes.
What other? So you run an agency. What type of stores do you see on Magento, and what type of business is it? Are you getting new business, or is it existing customers that you're taking over that business?
Both. I'm doing Magento for small, medium enterprises that Magento was already on their growing plans for last year, next year. So that was good. They get scared when the COVID started. Like they stopped some projects saying like, okay, I need to take care of the people that is on the stores. So we are going to stop on the online project right now. But when they saw this wasn't going to end like really fast, they start putting money on the online business, and they are doing good. And in the other side, I have some small clients that are not even business. It's like people that get their stuff and they want to go online, and they are starting doing the Facebook and the Instagram shops,
Okay,
which
so they're selling directly on those platforms, and how are they taking payment? Those they're just doing a payment.
they are local. So they are doing this nannies business model where they announce, they put the price on Facebook, but they get to the location of the customer to deliver the products. So they are not paying commissions for the payment gateways, and they are not paying shipments. So that's good for their business. They keep selling, but they are not struggling with the other cost of the platform.
Okay. All right. So shifting just back to the Magento
Yes.
community, how, and I know that it's always been a struggle to get the Magento community sort of more involved in Mexico. Do you, how are we going to get the Magento community more involved in Mexico?
Uh, there is a Magento Mexico Slack. There are like maybe 30 to 40 developers in there. We all know each other. I think Magento could do some efforts on participating on local events. There are like 2 or 3 big events for e-commerce here in Mexico. They do not have presence. We have invited them, but their response has been like, we need to pay them to be on the event. So that's not going to happen. We don't have money. You know how communities are working here. So they are also got invited to some others, not exactly like e-commerce, but retailers events, and the response has been the same, like, no, you need to pay me to get there, like, goodbye, I don't need you. And like, for example, in the other side, Shopify is really willing to pay to be in our events. So
Interesting.
that's
So
like,
tell me those 3 main events.
it's e-commerce day. You can Google like
Yeah,
that.
I'm familiar with that
Mexico
one.
e-commerce day. E-data, e-data, and I don't remember the name of the other, but I can send it to you so you can put on the.
Yeah, we'll put it on the show notes. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to Etsy,
Etsy.
EECSE. Yeah, and Adobe had a big booth there.
Good.
So but that was in 2019. That was 6 months ago or something like that. 2019, I think. I'm making a small joke.
Year.
We
Like
don't
month
count
ago,
2020.
right? Oh, I know.
Yeah, so I agree that Magento needs to do a better way of marketing it, and the Adobe name now has put a lot of confusion onto things.
Yes.
Some of the other products are still called whatever like Dreamweaver is still called Dreamweaver, and Photoshop is still called Photoshop. And I don't know if Photoshop was an Adobe product originally or not, but Dreamweaver was a Macromedia product, and it's called Adobe Dreamweaver. So I do feel like there's a space that they should continue the name Magento, and that it has a lot of value. And they should have a version that is for even a paid version that would be available for people that's called Magento. So helping that, I think from a community standpoint, the more that we can do in the community to educate Adobe on what they're doing impacts everything downstream is going to help the whole community in whole. All right. So
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think the story is going to repeat itself? Like, if we look back to Magento history, when it was like Variant, and then it went to eBay, and then it went back to the community, do you think it's going to happen the same, like right now with Adobe, that Magento is going back full to the community at some point?
I do think it's going back to the community at some point, and I think the Magento Association is going to have some say in that, at least, to help everybody understand what the community means to it. And I'm not part of any of the Adobe communities, but for example, Adobe Experience Manager was Apache Sling originally, and that is an open source project. And I think there's a community around it. I don't know what sort of community there is. And it's
I,
obviously, a very large project, and it's written in Java instead of PHP, but there is a community around that, and it is open source, and you can run that on your own without paying any licensing fees. What it looks
oh,
like between
nice.
the two, I don't know. Right now, Magento open source and Adobe Commerce look very similar when you log into it. There's a lot of
Yes.
features that aren't there, but they look the same. So I think growing that community and continuing to foster that community is an important part of what they need to do, and I guess what we need to do as sort of community leaders. Um, have you been involved much with the Adobe Associate or with the Magento Association?
Not really. I read some of the newsletter they send, but not like being on a Slack or doing some interaction, not really. I did get a ticket to the last Magento Imagine, that the one that got canceled. So so far.
And did you log into the Magento Connect conference right after the Adobe Summit?
Yes. I connected to those conferences. I started doing some blogging around the most interesting topics that I saw. But this year, I also subscribed to the event. But when I was doing my sign up, I saw the disclaimer that said that you could not do blog posts or without permissions. So I get really discouraged by that. So I didn't listen to any session on this year. Like, okay, on my personal opinion, if I'm going to that event and I take up my time to write about and to get this topic more spread, I didn't like that clause that you could not blog or write anything that was going to happen on the event. So it was like, okay, so like not interested.
Yeah, I missed that part, and I'm sure that was some lawyer putting some legal speak into their
I have
agreement
a
and nobody thinking
screenshot.
about it. What's that?
Yes, I have a screenshot. I'll send it to you
Yes, please.
because they said like you cannot do any blogging, any retweeting, any stuff with this information that you are about to see. And they were like, okay, no thanks.
Yeah, that's a great way to shut down an event.
Yes. And going back with the question that what else can the Magento or the Adobe guys do to be on the Mexican market is they need to help us, the agencies, to get involved with their partner projects. I know in US there are programs for smaller agencies when you can start selling like the enterprise version, but it's not available for Mexico or Latam. Then, for example, I had one client that they wanted to be enterprise version, and I called the guy for the business, and they say like, oh, you cannot do the enterprise because you are not an enterprise partner. And then I asked like, what do I need to be an enterprise partner? They say, okay, you need to pay a fee, a big fee, and keep getting business every quarter. I think 3 new business for every quarter. And it's like, okay, so I'm not in the possibility to do that. So I lost that client because they wanted enterprise and I couldn't set enterprise.
Yeah, that's a
So that's
challenge.
something, yes, that's something that they could create a program or allow us to do maybe one in a time sale.
One idea that I had, if you look at Akinio has a growth program that they have. It's sort of between their open source and their enterprise version, and it's SaaS as well. So clients, anybody, a smaller agency can sell that one, and it does allow the client to have a, at least a supported version, and that would allow somebody like yourself to be able to sell it and support it. I think that's a good model. Do you remember?
Yes.
You remember Magento Pro?
No.
Yeah, there was an open source, there was a pro version. Okay, so there was an open source, there was Magento Go, which was their SaaS version. Then there's
Yes.
Magento Pro, which was a scaled down version of Magento Enterprise, and then there was Magento Enterprise. So
No, I didn't got to see that one.
Yeah, Pro I think went away in like 1.11 or 1.10 for Magento. And in the
Okay.
enterprise space. But that was another idea that they had to try to make a version that would be affordable to different people. I think the problem is when you start making it about the features in the software, people quickly realize that Magento open source could turn into Magento Enterprise or Adobe Commerce now, simply by adding all these different extensions to it. And
Yes.
it is definitely a puzzle. So it is sort of like, would you like to build your house yourself and have your, make sure that you've put the plumbing in and make sure that you've put all the electrical in, or would you like one person to just give you the house and you can go in and work and use it? That is the difference that I see between the two. You can build out those features. The one thing you can't get with open source is you don't get that support that you would get directly from Adobe, like you would with Adobe Commerce. The other differences are going to be all these integrations that we're seeing with Adobe, like Adobe Enterprise or Experience Manager and Adobe. Well, the live search will be one that's available for both, but like Adobe Sensei is only going to be available, I think, right now, anyways, for Adobe Commerce, not for open source. So I think we'll see some differences in features that distinguish it a little bit more. All right. So what
But I
are you
don't
reading? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
get drive by the features. At least here in Mexico, I think people care more about the support that they could get being on the enterprise position. So I don't think it's about, at least here, I don't think it's about the feature. It's about getting the support.
Yeah, I agree, and
you could get with the enterprise version.
That is one of the biggest values. All right, so back to e-commerce. What are you reading right now? What is it that interests you, and how are you getting some of your information to keep yourself educated?
Okay, so right now I'm into the marketing stuff. I've joined several Telegram channels where they do marketing for e-commerce. That's a way for me to keep up on tendencies on the market and also giving me new ideas on what to implement for these clients. Because it's not only about putting the product online, it's also creating the strategy around it. And like I know right now I'm looking for a marketing person that does that for me, but also that keeps me updated. So I'll say right now I'm into marketing, like into this what's the name? Digital marketing.
Digital marketing, yes. And what about tools? Is there anything special you're using for tools to help you with that?
With digital marketing, no, but I keep digging into ways to put up my developments quickly. I've tried several Docker builds to get the developers up to speed. There is one that I'm surprised there is not a lot of community, is the one from MGT Commerce that keeps evolving and it's going with all the Magento required platforms. And you can put your development setup like in 1 hour, and nobody's talking about that.
MGT Commerce. Okay, I'll take a look at that one. Have you looked at Warden?
That was it. MGT Commerce. Yes.
How about Warden? Have you looked at that one?
The sound, the name, no.
I think it's warden.dev.
No. The name sounds on Word.
Yeah, I'll put the I'll put all the notes in the show or in our show notes. And then the other one that I've recently interviewed is MDOC, MDOQ. It's Aaron Moss. He's out of the UK, and that's a completely remote version of developer environments that, again, could be done and spun up in, say, 15 minutes. And that would also include all the external things like Elastic Search and SQL and everything you need, Redis and all those other things. Varnish would be included in that. So those are, I know, local environments. We could have a whole nother talk just about what developers should be using on local environments. All right. So we have a couple of minutes left here. How about, do you have, what recommendations do you have for a merchant if they're looking to grow their online store?
What would be, put attention on your prices. Do not forget that you need to do marketing, that your product is not good, is not going to sell by itself, even if you are a big retailer. And also put attention on your product images. That's something that they are not paying attention. They are taking like really ugly and small picture of their products, and then they complain because the site does not look beautiful. So I think those three things would be good advice.
And you said pay attention to the product images, right? And put a tag and description of it as well as a meta.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
Great. So one thing
that would be like extra step.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Continue.
So go ahead and, as we finish it off here, I always let people to do a shameless plug. So I would go ahead and say whatever you would like about whatever you would like to say. Promote yourself.
Okay, what would be? Okay, so this is Laura from Sales Services. We do e-com platforms. We could do Shopify, Magento, Facebook, Instagram. What else? I don't know what else to say. I love dogs. I don't know. You can find me on Twitter on Laura_Trea. You can write that down later. And I'm always available for small talk like right now. I do enjoy being on talks like that.
Excellent. All right, so I'm going to do I have two shameless plugs that I want to do today. Number one, we're trying to promote a Magento puppy hashtag where everybody tags and tweets pictures of their dogs. It doesn't have to be a puppy, and I think it could be a cat, but the tag should be Magento, and I think we've decided on Magento puppy. So I'm trying to get more people to use this hashtag Magento puppy. And I'm thinking on Wednesdays, we'll do Wednesday Magento Puppy Day. I don't know if that's better or not, but and Wednesday I think would be a good day. I did it yesterday. Could be Thursday. I don't know. Doesn't matter, but
yes,
trying to promote Magento Puppy as a relief to our sitting in our chairs in front of a screen all day. The second thing that I'm promoting right now is we're trying to do a hackathon for Adobe Magento in Orlando, Florida in
Okay.
2022 in January. So it would be the Adobe Disney Hackathon. And of course, I can't call it Adobe Disney Hackathon because I'll get sued by two people. But we are promoting a hackathon as a
Yes.
community event that would happen in Orlando, Florida. And as that, I would also like to think about, can we do something like the Unconference, like they do in Germany every year, where instead of a
Mhm.
organized conference, we do it in the style of an unconference where everybody goes and presents the topics and then everybody votes on the topic, and whoever wins the top votes gets to present their topics. So those are the things that I'm trying to do. So January 2022, Orlando, Florida. If anybody likes Disney World, I don't know why we haven't had an event in Orlando, Florida. All right. Well, thank you, Laura.
Nice.
Thank you
Count
for
me
this.
in on both.
Yeah, good. Thank you for this time and helping us to understand some of the complexities in the e-commerce market in Mexico. And I'm happy to see that you're safe and you're well. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to another talk sometime.
Perfect. Thank you.
Magento Creative, partnering with the client to help fulfill their strategic growth, serving the world as an Adobe Gold partner and BigCommerce Elite partner. Magento, the code of commerce. This episode has been sponsored by the partner of choice for technology, infrastructure, and enterprise-level digital solutions, an AWS Select Consulting partner, eWay Corporation, Forward Together. Thank you again for listening. My name is Brent Peterson, and it has been my pleasure to be your host today. Please rate and subscribe to Talk Commerce. New shows out every week.